Aeon's End, The Descent. Intro to Battle 1. Nestled between the ocean and its 50-foot garrison walls, Carrick has stood as the shining capital city of Melia for over 10 generations. Since its creation, the unique placement of Carrick and the industrious spirit of the people who live there has made it the world leader in import, export, fishing, philosophy, craftsmaking, tourism, and cultural exchange. Its iconic brass dome Capitol building sits in the center of the city, shining like a beacon to all the ships coming to share in a small piece of Carrick's prosperity. Brama shuts the book with a thump and turns triumphantly to her friends behind her. See? Fraxir furrows his brow. What am I supposed to see, Brama? See, the old world used to be full of wonderful things like philosophy and cultural exchange, and now we have nothing. Dalana cuts in from where she sits, cross-legged on the muddy floor of the tent. She twists the stem of a lone ragged dandelion between her fingers. I apologize, Brama, but I don't believe we need to break into Elder Merla's tent to figure that out. Elder Merla is the oldest living member of the Sisterhood. With her stooped shoulders and cane, she barely comes up to Brahma's chin. But her eyes still glitter with ether. Her tent is unadorned, same as every tent in the clan, but her age and venerated status have earned her the right to a few extra pillows on her bedroll, and some leniency to continue her odd hobby, a small collection of books and scrolls from the old world. A collection that Brama has secretly availed herself of whenever she gets a moment to slip away. The Sisterhood doesn't look kindly on anything beyond the needs of survival. They travel light and fast, always trying to stay ahead of the roaming paths of the terrible nameless that terrorize the world. The core of the clan are the sisters. Any girls lucky enough to be born with magical talents. Brama learned the sister words when she was 9. She became a daughter at 11. She fought her first nameless, a feathered thing with eyes like blood that screamed and screamed and screamed alongside the other sisters when she was 13. At 14, she watched her mother die. No, Dalana, the city, 50-foot walls, back against the ocean. The book says that Carrick is the most defensible city in the world and stood for thousands of years. Brama taps the cover of the book. This could be our stronghold. People might even still live there. Those were the before times, Dallas argues, folding her arms. I'm sure it's been destroyed. Everything has been destroyed, the elder says. Oh please, don't spout off about what the elders say. Janti stands up from where she's been longing across Elder Merla's cushions. She slings an arm around Brahma's shoulders, leaning forward towards Dalana and Fraxir. You two are followers. If you really cared about the rules, you wouldn't be sneaking into Sisterhood tents with us. You could get excised from the clan for this, you know. So, the clan is cruel and divisive. The point of Fraxir's great sword digs into the muddy ground as he rests his hand on its hilt. He never goes anywhere without it. That doesn't mean we suddenly have the freedom to leave. A traveler on their own without the protection of witches is inviting death. But witches aren't the only ones who can fight. Frax. You're a warrior and you can even open breaches now. I've seen it. Lower your voice, Fraxier hisses, glances at the flaps of the tent. The camp should be deserted for midday route planning, but there's no need to press their luck. You and Janti have the sister words. You're not the ones risking everything with this plan. And what about those of us who can't open breaches? Delana asks. What choice do we have? You can choose to listen to me. Brama steps forward, holding the books in one hand and extends her other down to Delana. For a moment, Delana hesitates, but she takes Brama's hand and lets herself be pulled to her feet. Traveling alone, we may be helpless, but we have never been alone. The Sisterhood wants us to think that submitting to their hierarchy is the only way to survive the wasteland. But I have fought alongside them, and my magic is equal to their own. Janti and I know the sister words. Fraxier is learning magic, and the other guards can fight without it. I know you've been studying beneath Master Toya, Delana. You were the one who tended Elder Reyna's wounds after the battle with the grinning horror. The Sisterhood belittles the followers, but you are invaluable to the survival of our clan. We could make it out of here together. To what end? There is a hint of hope in Delana's eyes as she looks at Brama, but it's hard to remember how to hope in this world. To be a new clan wandering around and hoping never to bump into the Sisterhood we betrayed. To go to Karik, Janti answers. Brama turns around, surprised to hear the words before she could say them. That's what you wanted to tell us, wasn't it? You think Karik is still around, you want to settle there. I won't. Brama takes a deep breath and opens her mouth to speak, but before she can, the flap of the tent is thrown open. Merla, you old bag of bones, are you in there? Brama freezes in panic as she comes face to face with Sister Lyson. Of all the sisters, none is more terrifying than Lyson. She hulks, her broad shoulders overflowing from a fur cloak. She is the only sister to ever face a nameless alone and bears the scars to prove it. Her wild hair is braided with bones and teeth. Several antlers dangle from her belt trophies of nameless she had bested. Well, what have I stumbled into? Laysan grabs Delana by the scuff of her shirt before she can bolt and stares down Fraxier. Fraxier glares back. A couple trespassers? Thieves? You must be skulking around in the shadows like this. We are not thieves. We are prepared to leave the clan, Janti says, stepping boldly forward. Brama's panic rises into her throat, choking her. This was supposed to be secret. They weren't done planning yet. They weren't ready. Brama has found an old city which had defenses even the nameless couldn't overwhelm. We're sick of living on the ruin at the whim of the elders. We want to build something, a real home, without fear. You want to leave the clan, Laysan laughs. You four! Look at Delana. She wouldn't last a day out there alone. She won't be alone. We'll protect her. She will protect us. We don't discriminate. Fraxier lifts his sword, leveling the point at the center of Laysan's chest. Put her down, cussing. You think you can keep up with me? 2 followers and 2 pups, barely speaking the words. Laysan licks her teeth. She drops Delana, who collapses to the ground, trembling legs unable to support her weight. Prove it, then. Scouts took too far an arc avoiding the mountains. Let us ride into ambush. We're standing on void scum. Brama pulls her feet out of the muddy ground and sees the swamp is sticking to her skin. The dirt pulses, almost seeming to breathe, as it spreads like mold up her ankle. She stumbles backwards, trying to escape. Where are the sisters? Preoccupied. The swamp's not our only problem. Seems like a nasty hive of creatures has been using it as their hunting ground. We are surrounded. Laysan grinds with the swords as she grins with the words as she relishes the challenge. Well, sure you don't want to cover inside and be protected like the other followers. Fraxia meets Laysan's gaze without blinking. Never again. We fight. Battle 1. Fight the Inefector. Set up Dalana the healer as your friend and the swamps as your foe according to the rules of the Friends and Foe rulebook. At the end of your game versus the Inefector, if you won, read this next section. If you lost, fight again. After your second game, read the next section. The Inefector is a nasty nemesis. It has these infections that it then, when it unleashes, puts out and activates 4 additional effects. They stay permanently on the field. Yeah, and we'll go over it as we go on, but the unleash is if the Inefector has 0 nemesis tokens, it gains a nemesis token and then reveal the top card of the infection deck, and the players with the fewest infections gains that infection. Otherwise, each player resolves all of the infections and the Inefector loses a nemesis token, so it's a on and off, like a switch. If it's off at 0, you gain an infection. If it's at 1, you resolve all infections. And then because we are playing on increased difficulty, we'll be getting 3 infections to begin with. And I apologize for the way, I wouldn't say apologize, but to explain why the setup is as it is because I need to record it in this very specific way. I have chosen to play with Brama, and she has 2 unique cards. She has Funneled Rage. While prepped, when you suffer damage, gain an ether token. And then it has an additional effect: when a player would suffer damage, you may suffer that damage instead. So she can sort of take like all the damage around and produce ether tokens out of that, which is ether tokens you can spend on your turn. Just deal 1 damage. And then in her starting deck she has Eternium. Gain 1 ether, you may suffer 1 damage. If you do, any ally gains an ether token. So though that one combos with Funnel Rage if you can keep it prepped. Her ability is on any ally's main phase, you can activate it to gain 4 life. I believe that's Brama gaining 4 life because it doesn't say that player or the player who has the turn gains 4 life. So Brama gains the 4 life, you may suffer 2 damage. If you do, Gravel suffers 4 life. So for 5 ether, she can gain 2 life to give Gravel 4 life if needed. I have chosen to give her the Banner of Chronicles as her starting banner with the Friends and Foe module. So I will destroy that crystal to make space for it. Originally I wanted to also have the Banner of Siphon here, but because none of them have a Spark in their starting hand, I sort of wasn't able to include it, because otherwise I would have to destroy their unique starting spell. But otherwise I would have chosen those because I believe, or like I haven't played this yet, but I was thinking that the best way forward is to reduce how effective the foe can be at dealing damage to us. So by taking away charges from it is the best way forward. But instead I've chosen to go with Banner of Sagas, so our ally can gain charges now. So I'll take that in and destroy a crystal for Janti. And she has Redirector. Deal 1 damage, resolve any effects on or attached to the breach that was cast from this was cast from 1 additional time. and she has these a side deck that you can gain from when she uses an ability. Gain the top card of the infusion deck and place it into your hand, so this is shuffled up and then you gain a random one, and they have additional effects that you can attach when attached to a breach, and gaining ether, dealing extra damage, stuff like that. So she can be very powerful, as you can also destroy one to deal 8 for the 4 charges, and that's sort of her gimmick. And some of the stuff I have to put aside because it takes up too much space. So we'll just see how this goes. You can see with the friend and foe it is very stacked. I think that's more or less everything. So of course we're playing on increased difficulty. So I've shuffled these up and we're taking these 3 infections and give out. So we have Itching Infection. Discard a card in hand that costs 3 ether or more, or suffer 1 damage. Regressive Infection. Lose 1 charge or suffer 1 damage. Spreading Infection. Place a card in hand on top of your deck or suffer 1 damage. So these are going to be triggered like multiple times over and over again. And either you have to, well, do the downside of what they asked you to do, or suffer 1 damage. So I assume we're going to lose a lot of health really quickly, especially because we're starting with 3 of those. So how am I going to give them a round? Who is going to have the charge? Who is going to place a card in hand on top of the deck? Ooh. Well, it's not good on anyone. It's not good for anyone. So I don't know how to place this because, well, lack of space and communication. So Spreading Infection over here, and then because she can gain ether tokens from taking damage, I think she will have the most. So she's gonna have, Brama's gonna have the one to lose a charge and discard a card in hand that costs 3 or more. So we'll try to put them here, and then I'll try to remember to trigger them correctly. Brama is player 1. Janti, I don't know, quite sure how to pronounce that, is player 2. We have the turn order deck. We have friend, a foe, 2 of each. And then I'll explain the cards as we go over them, as I buy them, obtain them, gain them, so on, and well, whatever is coming through in the Nemesis deck. So yeah, I'll shuffle up and we'll get into it. Oh, yeah, I forgot, I have to flip over the top card of the friend and foe deck. That's what's going to happen whenever we, well, when it's their turn. Alright, so we start with a foe, so it has Wriggle. The swarm gains 2 charges or Gravel suffers 3 damage. Okay. Oh, and I assume the Broodlings are placed on the swarm, on top of the swarm, and not in play as 2 different distinct setup. Place the Broodling cards above this mat. Yeah, so they shouldn't be in play right now, is what I'm arguing at least. Okay, so we have yeah, I think what I want to do is Gravehole suffering damage right now. Okay, and then this card to the right. This is so clunky. Placing a new card face up. Good. Alright, so that's the foe, so that's it. So we have the Nemesis. Chaos Orb. To discard, spend 6. Power 3, unleash, Greyhole suffers 4. Wow. That's rough. So I will say that, yeah, I discarded the top 5 cards of the starting deck, and then I'm just, yeah, using this as the introductionary battle. Player 2, Janti. Right, so we have 4 ether, and I believe the best course of action is just to open our breach 1. And that's it. Friend. Alright. Delana, the healer, gains 2 charges, or any player returns a card from a discard pile to their hand. Ooh, okay. So, Delana could be getting 5 ether in their starting hand, or next hand I should say, giving access to Time Rift, which is pretty nice for a buy on the second turn, or an Acidic Flormite, gain 3 ether. Well, I'm definitely returning that crystal to hand. Any player returns a card from the discard pile to the hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that to get going really fast. Right, so that's it for the friend, and then we flip the next card face up, and I'll just explain that as next time. Right. So we're gonna have Redirector for 1 damage. First blood. Well, technically it hit the first blow on me, but anyway. Right, so what do we have here? We have the 3 and then 1. So we can go for the spell and focus up Breach 3 without getting too delayed, without getting card spell stuck in hand. So we're gonna be fine with that. So we're gonna buy that and just go fast, go boom, boom, boom. There we are. Right, Brama. So as I read it, the infections only trigger on unleashes, or I assume Nemesis specific effects. We have funneled rage, so now while it's prepped we can gain ether tokens if dealer taking damage. We have 4 ether. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and get a Washium. I don't think Legacy Slayer is that good in this game because I am not particularly fond of these relics specifically. Well, that's what it is. Okay. So we have Nemesis going again. Power token off. Oh, Banesire. That's an old one. A little bit zoomed in here. We know this one. Persistent Unleash 6 health. Okay, this is like really retro gaming. I don't particularly want to see it unleash. Alright, so what can we do here?
After prolonged deliberations, I make the choice of keeping Funnel Rage prepped in order to gain 1 extra ether when I suffer 1 damage from Eternium in order to give an ether token to Janti. With the 5 ether, I made a questionable choice of buying a new Time Rift instead of simply opening a breach and getting my Spark in hand prepped, meaning that I only draw 4 new cards from my next hand.
I wonder, should I just go hard in on the spells? And I believe I'm going to do that. I could do Acidic Flormite for now, because I also want to obviously get my breaches open, but here we are. Oh yeah, but of course I already bought a gem. I don't need more gems. Good, so that's pretty long round 1. I had some considerations to make. I'm new to Brama, so I'm not sure what's the optimal go here, but I believe we have some strong 5-cost cards, so it was worth it to go in for, even with losing a health, which I don't think we have a lot of health to do with in this game, to be honest. Very tough to start with 3 extra infections, but let's shuffle up and see. See where we heading. Okay. Alright, Brama goes first. So I have 5 ether in hand, and what I want to do is I'm going to use Funnel Rage to deal 1 damage to go down to 5. Prep it, and then for 5 ether I could also give the foe doesn't have any charges, so I'm gonna buy myself a second Time Rift. I may spend 1 to oh yeah, but it's not worth it. Alright, so now I think Brama has enough spells for now, so that's 5. And there we have Time Rift. Of course, only prepping on turn 4. So Banesize is probably gonna get off. Yeah. The only thing is Janti can go twice in a row. Okay, so Unleash. Oh yeah, I didn't even... I'll go back to the cards. Unleash. If the Inefector has 0 Nemesis token, which it doesn't, it gains a Nemesis token. Then reveal the top card of the infection deck and the player with the fewest infection gains that infection, so that's going to be Janti. Gains that. Disabling Injection. Discard a prep spell or suffer 1 damage. Oh boy. New card. Unleash. Unlucky. Right, so loses the Nemesis token. And then we're going to trigger all of these. Discard a card in hand that costs 3 or more. I'm not quite willing to do that. Lose 1 charge, doesn't have that. So right now it would be really nice to have her unique spell prep, but it's what it is. So she loses 2 life. Discard a prep spell. I think she's just gonna go ahead and do that. And place a card in hand on top of your deck or suffer 1. So we have... Now, we really cannot do that. We could of course put Redirector back on top, which might actually not be a bad idea. So I'm a big favor of just checking what cards you have, because otherwise you could note them down, you could see them. Right, so that's 5 ether right there. Or 4. 4 with putting Redirector on top. Right. I might actually just do that. No, I'm not, because if Janti goes twice in a row now, she can... oh shoot. No. Alright, so we're gonna keep it in hand, but because we want to discard it later. So we're gonna take 1 damage. Go to 9. So that's the Unleash part. And then any player suffers 1 damage and discards a card in hand. If that card is a gem, Griffle suffers 2. So to avoid any more shenanigans, so we're gonna discard Redirector for that, and only taking 1 damage. Going to 8. Okay, so that's all from the Nemesis. Janti. Right, so 3 ether. I'm just gonna focus a breach. It's 5 in the next turn, so I might just want to keep it open actually, because the friend gains 1 charge. So yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna wait with that. Prep Time Rift. Time Rift. Each player may reveal the top card of the deck and either discard it or return it to the top of the deck. So that's just like the free cost gem from Wave 1, a original Aeon's End, like your Siftering Pearl. Oh, and deal 4 damage. So I'm gonna gain 1 charge for Janti and 1 charge for our ally. Or actually, I'm not sure. I might just buy another Time Rift with the 5 ether. Wait, I had... Place a card in... Aha! Right. So I have to spend... that. Right? So I would be having 3 either way, so I could have been on 4. And so just let's say we just did whatever we were doing. So on the infection we placed that on top of the deck, so we are actually still at 9. I forgot about the ether tokens, but I think I still caught it in time where everything could be redone without necessarily any more information. Right. That's going to be the 5 cards. Good. So then Nemesis goes again, so that's really bad. So first, gonna put it on, gaining an infection. Spreading Infection. Place a card in hand on top of your deck. Okay, so that's a copy. That's a Spreading Infection again. Alright, so I believe Brama's gonna give that. And then Banesire is gonna unleash. And triggering them all. Rip. So let's start with Brama here. Discard a card in hand that costs 3 or more. No, so we go down to 6. I should really have kept that prepped. Oh well. Oh well. Lose 1 charge, doesn't have one. Go to 5. And place a card in hand on top of your deck. Huge misplace. Right, so we have what? We have 4. I'm just gonna hope to focus our 3rd breach, I guess. We'll get that there. Might actually just put Eternium on top to reduce that damage. Alright, so we have Disabling Injection, discard a prep spell, no. We're going into 8. Place a card in hand on top of your deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no. And actually, yeah, we do want to open that because we're getting 2 spells in hand. So we're gonna take 1 damage more on that because we don't want to throw away any cards. Oh, and Gravel also suffered 4 on that, so 23. That's a lot. This is a lot going on. Right. New card as well. Oh, 7 health. Plaguebringer. Immediately, this minion suffers damage equal to the number of players in the game. And so it goes down to 5. Persistent. Gravel suffers 2. Or reveal the top card of the infection deck. The player with the fewest infections gain that infection. Okay. Not exactly ideal. Alright, so that's done. Sorry, yeah, no, it's not done. Place a Broodling into play with 4 life, or any player discards a relic in hand that costs 2 or more. I don't have any of those. So it's gonna put a Broodling into play with 4 life. Gonna put them down here together. Okay, now we're done. Alright, friend. Any player focuses breach, or any player discards a prep spell. If they do Dalana, the healer gains 3 charges. Well, Brama could certainly go for some health, but I also just think that we want to get our breaches focused. So just 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. And play discards prep spell. So Brama can just do that. And then she gains 3 charges. Yeah. I think that's what we're gonna do. No, we need it for Banesire. We need it for Banesire. We really need it for Banesire. We're not gonna do that. We are going to focus her 3rd breach. I think that's what we're gonna do. 2. Time Rift. Bring it down to 1. And everyone can check their top card and discard, and that's a crystal. Gonna discard. Oh, that spot was prepped. Eternium, we don't want. Do we want to discard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get Banner of Chronicles instead. So that would be 3, 4 ether, but we can. The foe loses 1 charge, but doesn't matter. Not yet, but it could matter. Oh, of course we also get that information. Yeah, so that could give 3 charges, and friend gains 1 charge. Any player draws a card, any player gains 2 ether tokens. Okay, pretty cool. Do we want to discard it? Yeah, I think we do. It's not. It doesn't matter immensely, but it's something. It's something. Right then, for 5 ether, we're gonna open that breach. Five. Huh. I guess we don't really wanna. But I guess that's still better. We need the damage. We need the damage. So we're just gonna be with a spark in hand. It's fine. We might even have her go to give us a card or something. Alright, so we're gonna use that spark. Blow off that. Prep that and focus this. Okay, I really, going back, I might have wanted to open up Breach 2 so she could get a lot more benefit out of Washroom. Gain 2 ether, you may spend 1 to focus the close breach with the lowest focus cost. So Breach 3 could be focused for essentially 2 ether discount, stuff like that. Right, mistakes made is what it is. Let's shuffle up and see where we're heading in round 3. We are really like, we are on. Let's go. Of course. Alright, we forgot to discard that. Grey House Office 2. I don't want any more infections. Brutling. Any player suffers 1 damage and discards a card in hand. Oh yeah. Nice. Saved me from keeping it in hand. Oh, 6. There we go. As long as it doesn't go again or stuff like that. Bubbling Veins. The discard spends 6 power free. Reveal the top 2 cards of the infection deck. The players collectively gain those infections. So unleash. Oh yeah, it's not unleashed twice. It's it's something else. Power free. Foe. Blistered Flesh. Place a Brutling into play and Gravel suffers 2, or the Swarm gains 3 charges and friend gains 1. Really don't want to see Banesire again. But I also, Brutlings is the same. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, quite controversial, giving it 3 charges. And our friend gains 1. Okay, player 1. It's not looking that great right now. Time Rift. So that's gonna deal 4. I think we're just gonna go ahead and deal that here. No, because we can take this one out now next turn. This one is clean. Just place back into the Brutling deck. There we go. Oh. Right, so for 4 ether, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and finally open this. Or I could do the 3 and remove a charge. Yeah. So I'm gonna produce 3 ether to focus my 3rd breach. Prep, and then the foe loses 1 charge. There we go. Ooh, risky stuff. Okay. Let's see what happens now. Okay, nice. All right. 4 and 1. That's clean off. But at least we're getting rid of the minions. Let's see what's up. Crystal discard. Crystal discard. So I could for 4 ether. I could do some stuff, but Yeah, I'm just gonna open this a little bit late. Fortunate. I'm not gonna suffer that damage to give an ether charge, ether token. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Good job, Brama. You did well. You did well. Okay. Bubbling Veins. Oh. 3 shield tokens, 1 health. Merc Spewer. Defeated. If this minion was defeated by damage from a spark, gain an infection. Persistent Gravel suffers 2. Okay, I think those silent stings would have been nice about now. So shield tokens, they absorb all damage from a damage instance to take off 1 shield. So for each shield, you need to allocate a damage instance to them. No matter if it deals 2, 3, 4, 1 damage, doesn't matter. Cast. Resolve any effects on or attached to this breach. This was cast from 1 additional time. So I still believe that would be the same damage instance. Okay, so I have 2 and I'm gonna get a charge from that. No. We're going to develop Silent Sting. And how do I explain this? Yeah, so I'm just gonna flame it face up. So that's developed right now. Could also put something on it to... I think that works for now. So now I can gain it for 2 ether. Okay, forgot about that. 2. I mean, there's no other way around it. So, read it, Time Rifts. Check that. I kind of want to keep the sparks at this point, actually. So I'm just going to keep that on top. So I want to keep... Yeah, Time Rift, yep. That's a keeper. And then Redirector. Double up, so that would be 3 damage, but because it's just that, it's just 2 shield tokens. And then for 5 ether, that could be just 2 silent stings actually, because 1 was developed, so it would cost 2 ether. Yep. Right. Any player draws a card, or any player gains 2 ether tokens. That would be 3 or 5. Or no, cannot draw that. Timers, that would be nice to draw. Yeah, just gonna draw that. Right. Yeah, I believe she was on 8 health. I'm just gonna look through the footage and reset her to the correct health after shuffling, when shuffling up, and then we'll get back into it. Okay, so no, she was definitely not on 8 health. She was for sure on 6 health. So that's corrected. So let's move on. 2. Okay. Well, it would be nice to have 2 in a row because, well, that's what's really going on. Time Rift there, Spark there, and 3 ether. So at this point, I just want to put give her a charge, and then she has Banner of Sagas. The friend gains 1 charge. Right. So if she goes again, we are good. I don't think buying 2 crystals was the best call. Sorry, buying 2 silent stings was the best call after all. But you know. Player 1. Alright, so that's a spark there to take that last shield. Oh, and then we want to use Time Rifts. Good. So I'm gonna play Washem, and then pay 1 ether, so 1 ether left over to focus our breach with the lowest cost. So that's gonna be that. So we have 1 ether plus the 3, so that's 4 ether. And I think at this point, just gonna buy some charges, tank up, and that be it. Oh yeah. Right, so that's gonna be a time rift. That's 3 damage wasted, but it's fine, it's fine. At least that's gone. Everyone can check. There's a crystal. There's a crystal. And 2 damage. Alright. Increments, small increments. Gotta put silence thing. 2 ether, so that's a charge. And then, well, I should definitely only bought 1 silence tank, that's for sure. Redirector stays in hand. But at least you can charge up and then stack her, what it is? Infusion together with Redirector for the coming turns. Okay. Foe. Place a Broodling into play. The swarm gains 1 charge. Okay. Nemesis. Well, it's been a while. That's removed. Any player suffers 1 damage and discards a card in hand. She can do that. Go down to 5. New card. So that's tier 2. We're beginning on tier 2. Gathering Dread. Discard spend 7, power 4, unleash 3 times. Okay. It's very rare to see a power 4. They're trying something new there at least. Good. So that's all for that Nemesis turn. Okay. So we're gonna have Time Rift to deal 5 to the Nemesis. That's gonna go down to 52. And then, do we want to discard? Yeah, we do. We want to discard? Yeah, we do. And we're gonna do it again. Time Rift for 4 damage to take off the Broodling. Goes up there. Do we want to discard? No, we do not. Do you wanna? No, we don't. Cool. Alright, so do we even want to keep Funnel Rage in Open Breach 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, actually, yeah, that is a question. Do we actually want to discard it? Yeah, I think we do, because then we get Time Rift into hand. And no, we are just going to keep it there. Do we feel the need? No, we don't. So that's going to be 4 ether. That's going to be 2 charges at this point. But then again, I don't know. Just having that 3 more damage, I still think is worthwhile. So it's a bit late to buy a spell, but it's fine. It's still going to be 3 damage at some point. Okay, reveal the top 2 cards of the Infection deck. To discard, or discard 2 gems in hand or suffer 1 damage. Discard prep spell, suffer 1 damage. So 3. Discard 2 gems in hand. Discard a prep spell. No, reverse. Okay. That's really bad, but it's what it is. What is this? Wreaking Havoc, Wandering. So Wandering is that it only takes 1 damage from spells or any damage source, but you can pay it ether to deal damage. So 1 ether equals 1 damage. Persistent. The player with the lowest life suffers 2. Okay. Nasty. So that's it for it. Then a friend. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Checks out. Dalana the healer gains 2 charges, or any player gains 1 charge. I think Dana the healer is gonna get 2 charges to use her ability. Any player or grave gains 4 life. I think Brama is gonna gain the 4 to go to 9. Okay, so that's it for round 4 at this point. We don't have a lot more rounds to do with before tier 3 actually, and we just gotten into tier 2. Unless the tier 2 is not based on, like, depends on how many cards in tier 2 actually. But nonetheless, like, pressure is on. We want to complete this as soon as possible because it's getting really tough out here. Okay, and I forgot to reveal those, so we can just see what's coming up. Yeah, I guess you can't really see too much on the screen. Alright. Reduced on all damage dealt by abilities and player cards. Alright, so Venom is actually coming into play here because that is not a player card per se. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that, but that's how I'm treating it. It's a token or like an effect. Right, so silence thing. It's gonna deal 1 damage, like it's +1, but because wandering, so that's 2 damage. And that places 2 venoms on it, dealing 4 damage. So down to 3. That's almost gotten rid of. And then we can play 2 ether to gain a charge to use our ability. Finally. And then gain the top card of our infusion deck. Spirit Infusion. Attached to any player's breach, when a spell is cast from this breach, the player who cast that spell may destroy a card in hand. And that's placed into hand, so we're going to attach that to our 3rd breach, and then prep Redirector to it. And then Banner Saga is just going to pay 1 ether to deal 1 damage, so that brings Shrieking Havoc down to 2 life. Okay, let's see what happens then. Friend. Dalana the healer gains 2 charges, or any player gains 1 charge. Greyhawk is doing fine right now. Dalana the healer gains 2 charges, or... Yeah, I think I want to play a little bit safe. For Janti, yeah. Yeah! That's good, that's good, that's good. Do I just want to keep Funnel Rage? I think I'm just going to keep Funnel Rage. Time Rift prepped. 2 ether spent to take this out. That's good. So 2 ether left, or foe loses 1 charge. And I think the foe is going to lose 1 charge because I don't want to see that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, Nemesis? No, foe. Place a Broodling into play and Gravehold suffers 2, or the Swarm gains 3 charges and the Friend gains 1 charges. Okay, so that didn't stop it. Yeah, we're gonna place a Broodling into play. But Nemesis hasn't gone yet. Yeah, exactly why we need to do that. Right. And Gravehold suffers 2. So I still think the Broodling is way easier to deal with than Banesire. Okay, so that was the enemy, that was the foe. Ascendance Endeavor 1. Right. Time Rift. I'm unhappy to deal with minions all the time, but it's what it is. So that's out. Later on, check the top card. Crystal, discard. Crystal, discard. Right. I can spend 1 ether to focus that, so I can prep all I want. And then I have 2 ether left over. You may suffer 1 damage if you do any ally gains some ether token. Like, I can see why I would do that, but also I don't want to really take all the damage. It would give me an extra ether myself, but I don't quite need it. That's just gonna be 2 ether from my Brama, and that's a 3rd charge. She's gonna suffer a lot of damage soon, I believe so. If she just could somehow take some damage now, that would be nice. Because then she could gain... I'll prep. When you suffer damage, gain an ether token. Yeah, so if we just suffer some damage now, she can gain some ether tokens. Any player discards 3 cards in hand and suffers 2 damage. So theoretically, we could just do that. And then because Funnel Rage is prepped, she can lose that damage. Goes down to 7. And it's whenever she suffers damage, gains an ether token. It's not whenever it's not an ether token per damage she takes, is what I'm saying. So we're getting that 1 ether token. We still need 1 more. She has gone twice, yeah. So. On the other hand, Redirector, that's 3 damage. Going down to 49, so that's the first 11 damage dealt. Do I even want to destroy a card in hand? I guess I can destroy the spark, but I can also just prep the spark, so... but then, yeah, okay, I can see the benefit in destroying the spark. Right, so we're gonna do that. I'm drawing a new hand. Nemesis. Power token off. Blistering. When a player deals 4 more damage to this minion in a single instance, that player resolves 1 of their infections. Oh, okay, so that's actually really good for Brama here, because she can ensure that she's gonna take damage to gain an ether token. So as long as she just goes now, she's good. She can pay off Gathering Dread, and I believe, so that's going to be 5, 3, so that's 8, 1. Yeah, she can take that off herself if she goes first. Okay, let's shuffle up and see how it's going to go. Round 6. Of course not. Of course not. Alright, so what's gonna happen is we're gonna put a Nemesis token on. Gonna give a Nemesis infection to someone. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So she's gonna gain it. Place a card in hand on top of your deck. Spreading infection. So that's the second unleash, and then it's just gonna, on the third, it's gonna come back, gain 1. But for now, going to trigger them all. Right, so discard prep spell, we can do that with Spark. Place a card in hand on top of your deck. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really... so that's 2. Discard a card in hand that costs 3 or more, can't do that. That's 1 damage and an ether token. Lose 1 charge. Yeah, just gonna do that. Right, so that's all 4 from Brama. Discard a prep spell. No. Brama can go to 5 to gain another Ether token. Not sure what she's gonna spend it on. Place a card in hand on top of your deck. Yeah, might as well do that. Discard 2 gems in hand. Sure. And place a card in hand on top of your deck. No. So Brama goes to 4. And gains another Ether token. Right, and then on the 3rd Unleash, Infector is going to gain a Nemesis token, and we are going to get an infection. Degenerative Infection. Discard 2 gems in hand, suffer 1 damage. Brama's just going to get that. That's the power. Blisterkin, deal 2. 17 to Gravehold, I mean. A new card. Unleashed twice. Any player or Gravehold suffers 3 damage. Right, so gonna take that off. Trigger them all. Degenerative Infection. Discard 2 gems. Lose 1 charge. Discard a card in hand that costs 3 or more. Can't do that. Discard a prep spell. Place a card in hand on top of your deck. And discard a prep spell. So that's going to be Full Rage. I have 1 card and a card in hand. Right. Place a card in hand. Discard 2 gems in hand. So that's for sure is 1 damage. So that's going to be 4. Place a card in hand on top of your deck. Discard a prep spell. This might just be 3 damage. So that's going to down to 1. And then unleashes again, so as an infection to Brama. This is getting out of hand really fast. Not sure if I have enough damage to get this done, so it goes down to 14. Yeah, so I'm forced to do this, so that's 5. And 3, so that's 8, left with 1 HP, 1 life. And then return a card in your hand on top of your deck. And I have 5 Ether. Spend however I want. And at this point, I'm just gonna get 2 charges, honestly. Oh yeah, I could have just kept this in hand. Then I would have 6, but lost a charge. So yeah. Time Rift, deal 5. That's gonna down to 44. And prep. Okay, friend. Any player focuses a breach or any player discards a prep spell. If they do, the land of the healer gains 3 charges. Yeah, sure. That triggers her, and Janti goes to 5. to a 4. I'm just gonna charge up to go to 5 and use my ability to go to 7. I could go to 5, but I think Gravehold is doing fine for now. Next time. Yeah, of course. Gravehold suffers 2. This card spends 7. Power to unleash. The player with the lowest life suffers 4. And that's a power 2. 2 silent sting, so that's put the venom on. And then deals 1 damage, so that's killed, defeated. And whenever it's defeated, I can trigger this in place on any foe, so that's 2 damage to the Nemesis, Inefector. Okay. I may destroy a card in hand. Do I want to? I kind of do. That's gonna be 4, so that's gonna be 2 charges. Kind of just want to trigger again to deal the 8 damage. So, place a Broodling into play, the Swarm gains 1 charge. Okay, this is not looking optimal, let's put it that way. This is going to be round 7, so in a normal game this would be the last round of tier 2. And we're not quite doing so well for that. Inefector is still above 40 life, above 2/3 of original starting health. So we'll see what happens. Let's get into round 7. Okay. Doesn't matter too much. Redirect it there. Time rift there. The friend gains 1 charge, and we can gain 1 charge ourselves. Of course. Any player suffer 1 damage and discards a card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brama can do that. Goes to 6. Draws a new card. Volcanic Sala. Persistent Gravel suffers 3, or any player loses 2 charges. Any player draws a card, or any player gains 2 ether tokens. 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, like, yeah. So, I should have discarded Spark because I knew I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ether plus the 2 ether tokens. That, like, I should have played towards my wins, and I'm going to do that. That's what's happening. I forgot to remove that last turn. There we go. Alright, so that's going to be 5 damage. And I wonder if I should just go hard in on the Nemesis at this point and hope Gravehold survives. And I think I'm just going to do that. So that's going to be 37. That's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 plus the 2. That's going to be the 7 that I needed. No, it feels like a little bit of cheating, but thinking clearly, looking at the bigger perspective, that is what I should have done. A little bit larger and stuff like that. Do I want an ether token? What give me to 4? So I mean, but doesn't really matter at this point because that's not really substantial. I can look at the next card, see if I want to discard it. Yeah, doesn't really matter at this over here. depends on what's up next. So these are the next 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nah. No, I'm not gonna discard it. So, the Swarm gains 2 charges, or Gravel suffers 3. Gravel is going to suffer 3, going down to 9. Looking a little bit risky over here. Two. Okay, so but I think I'm just gonna continue in this redirector to deal 34. And then destroy a card in hand, just 1. Time Rift dealing 4. So now we're halfway on health. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we want to discard that. What about over here? There's a crystal. Right, so we're gonna get 2 ether. That's 1 charge. And then we're gonna use the second part of the ability to destroy it. To deal 8, so down to 22. Right, so now it looks, at least, it feels like we're getting close. Prepping 2 silent stings. Alright, and now let's look back at the math. I think I want to get rid of this on the 3 damage from Redirector. So we don't have to discard cards and suffering damage. So we're gonna have it at 25. Still decent, Okay. Janti has gone twice now as well, so. And we also used that damage option that we had. Right, so Gravel's gonna suffer 3 because we don't spend the charges. We don't have the charges to spend. Unleash twice. Any player gains a Scorched Pearl from a curse deck and place it on top of their deck. Going to trigger all of these bad boys. I mean, she's fine. So she can discard 2 gems in hand, place 1 on top, and then she can take 2 damage, so it goes down to 3. Brama, she can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How does she have 6 and she has 4? That shouldn't be possible. Something went wrong. Give it that. Just gonna suffer 1 more, so going down to 2. Right. Doesn't have a chance to lose. Goes down to 5. Does she have a card that costs 3 or more in hand? Not that I want to discard. So that's 1 down to 4. Playing a little bit on the edge over here. Discard 2 gems in hand. She could do that. She's gonna do that. She cannot discard a gem in hand that costs 2 or more. She doesn't have any. Discard a prep spell, doesn't have any. So she goes down to 2 as well. And then anyone gains an infection, lose the charge, suffer 1 damage. over here. And then Scorched Pearl. Well, prep there. Right, so that's it for the Nemesis. Round 8 coming up. Looking kind of tense. How much damage do we have? We have 5, 8, 9, 12, plus the 4 from Venom. So that's 16. Alright, so having 3 turns in a row might just be enough, because we just need this 9 damage. That's 5, that's 6. We need 4 player turns for this to succeed. And we cannot have Nemesis goes twice in a row. Alright, so that's Silencing. That's 3 plus the 4 from Venoms. 3, so that's down to 22. 4 from Venom, so that's 18. Prep that, so that's going to be 3 plus the 4, so that's 7. Down to 11. How much do we have here? 5, 8, 9. Okay. Getting very close. Foe, of course. Place a Brutaling into life in play with 4 life, or any player discards a relic in hand that costs 2 or more. Well, it's the Brutaling with the 4, so, and we can't really survive taking the damage from it either. Friend. Dalana, the healer, gains 2 charges, won't help us. Any player returns a card from the discard pile into the hand. That would actually be something. That's just a crystal. Oh, it doesn't have any. So, just Banner of Chronicles, just for funsies. Okay. That's the 3, that's the 4. That's the 7 down to 11. Player, discard that. Discard that. Okay. Gonna suffer that damage to go to 1. Or, I don't even have to play it. I don't have any more turns after this, so I can just keep it in hand. So I have to 4 ether here, so that's 2 charges. So that's 1 Volcanic Sala redirection with the charges. So that's at least somewhat beneficial. So that's 4 in hand, plus the Scorched Pearl. Okay. We have a Nemesis turn. Right. Obviously gonna lose the 2 charges there. And then why not just discard the Scorched Pearl on Brutaling to go to 1. Relics, persistent if the players collectively have fewer than 4 infections. Reveal the top card of the infection deck. Then any player gains the infection, otherwise the Inefector gains 1 Nemesis token. I don't think we would survive this. Would survive that. Okay, off to a good start. That's 5 damage. May discard that. It doesn't matter. That's 5, 8, 9. That's down to 2 health. Okay. So I might actually... right, so I had the 3 damage and the 2... That's the 5. How much damage am I dealing? I'm dealing 6. If that had 3 health, I could have taken it out. And still have leftovers. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Foe loses 1 charge, doesn't matter. It's gonna get 2 charges. Really doesn't matter. Right, so I'm pretty sure this is a 50-50. Okay, lose the 2 charges on Volcanic Cellar. Then Broodling. Discard 1, lose 1 life, so it goes to 1. And then Viralex. Otherwise, the infection gains 1 Nemesis token. So that's off. Whoa, hold up. Okay, so that's not how to interpret what's going on here with Viralex. So what I was about to do is to treat it as if it was unleashing, which means that it sees that it has a Nemesis token on, and then you remove 1. That's not what's going on. You just gain a Nemesis token, or the Inefector gains 1. I mean, which just simply means it now has 2. That's it. It doesn't trigger anything. It doesn't trigger any of the infections. So we don't take damage. We don't do anything. So it was never really a threat because there was already 1 on, and the next one would kill us. I did play this out as if I took the damage. So in the outro, I will include the blooper, and also just for clarity of what was happening, what was going on. Yeah, and that resulted in a loss. But because of how the Nemesis deck was constructed when they put it together, the next card is a power, which doesn't get into play at this point because, well, it's a power 3, so it's delayed. Spend 7 to discard. Power 3, unleash Gravehold Surface 3. Any player chooses one of the infections and resolves it twice. Fetid Miasma. So that's just put down. You put 3 power tokens on it, and that's it for the Nemesis turn, and you're fine. We're fine. And then you just go to the next turn order card, and that's a 1, and that's 5 damage for Time Rift, and that takes off Inefector. Just last second. So yeah, that's how it should have played out, where if I had the clarity to just read what the card was saying. I will include the blooper at the end. So as also, like, there was the 6 cards in tier 1, so that's fine, but then there was actually 10 cards in tier 2, which usually is 8 cards for a 2-player game, so there's a bit of lenience there, especially because the 2 last cards didn't end up mattering in this case, and I think that's it constructed around that. I don't remember being informed to discard cards from tier 2, so these would have come up sooner. That power obviously wouldn't have gotten off anyway. So unless I'm missing that instruction for tier 2, I think what we're doing is fine. I don't remember having done anything for the tier 3. So that should be, yeah, 11, 10, 9, going down to 2. So that's Fever Break. So that would have triggered. And then we have seen Infernal Scion, but not triggered it. Fever Break. To discard, resolve each of your infections twice. Jeez. That's rough, man. Especially because, like, to not take the damage, you have to discard cards or lose charges, and you can't really do that for a prolonged time. Power 1, any player destroys 2 open breaches, Griffle suffers 4. That's not great, because you have to discard your spells that's been prepped to an open breach when you destroy it. So that's not exactly great. Infernal Scion, Persistent Unleash. Any player places a card that costs 0 ether in their discard pile on top of their deck. That player destroys a card in hand. That's quite rough. I don't want to go through all the cards. I don't think that's really valuable. That's okay. So this is a victory. I'll claim victory here, because that was a misunderstanding of the cards, and because it's video footage, I could go back. There's one correction when I was looking through the footage. So I did the mistake of having Brama at 5 infections and Janti at 4 infections, and then when gaining an infection, I gained itching infection and gave it to Brama, forgetting that I should have given it to Janti, and then I gave a random infection to Janti, which was the wrong one. This was the one that she should have gained. Playing it out, it didn't matter. It could have mattered, because I could have played it out differently to result in less damage by discarding a card, the appropriate card at the right time for Brama. But I took the damage from it when Janti took the extra damage. So, playing it out, it was played correctly in terms of what could potentially have been done. It didn't become better or worse per se. So I think that's fine. Okay, how do I feel about the friends and foe mechanic? They're certainly interesting. I believe they prolonged the game a little bit more, because I at least felt that I had to take care of the broodlings a bit more. I got a bit of healing to sustain myself for a bit longer. I'm not sure if I should just have kept some more of the... I feel like the urgency of taking down the broodlings is also because they have 3 or 4 health. It means that they're also easy to get rid of, so what can you say, the math, the calculation, the risk calculation and management is in favor of getting rid of them. I believe I might change that perception over time as I play with them. And then we have Flamium. I think I should have bought Flamium for Brama, or I should invest more in opening second breach to get more value out of Vashium. I think the Eternal, getting the Time Rift early was a good strategy initially. I think Janti could have gone for Acidic Flowmite for her first 5-cost card, just because she likes to get all the charges, so having that extra ether really helps her along the way. She could have gone lucky on the infusion that she got. All the other infusions would have been way better. I don't think I would struggle as much if I had had any other infusion that was, for this context, the weakest. If I had had Acidic Flowmite, of course that would have given me some more destruction already there, but just having that higher value card to getting more value cards down the line would probably have been more beneficial in that context. Also just easier to get rid of it, to destroy it and get a new one. Dealing the 8 damage, yeah. Good. Right, so I will consider this game concluded, successful. I know there was a little bit of cheating, because when gaining the restore and gaining the 2 ether tokens, that wasn't correct sequence. But I was still taking the decision to do it that way, before I could see if I actually succeeded in making the call or seeing the Nemesis. Of course, if Nemesis had gone twice in a row there, would I have like made the alteration or not? If I hadn't seen the friend before the Nemesis, would I have made the alteration there? Those sort of things is a little bit, it makes that call a little bit sketchy in my opinion, but I still think I'm playing for fun. I am allowing myself to have a little bit, like making a few mistakes, and now they're just being caught on camera. If I'd been without camera, I wouldn't have any qualms with it, so it's what it is. Battle 1, conclusion. Brama stands still, covered in the grime of their battle, dirt and blood dripping from her hands. The swamp itself seems to recede with Inefector's death, leaving behind dry grass and flowers as it sinks away into the ground. For a moment, it seems she and her friends have the attention of their entire clan. Sister Lysan eyes them with something like begrudging respect, now that they have proven themselves side by side in battle. The rest of the followers, creeping out of their tents, stare in barefaced amazement at proof that one of them could fight a nameless. And the sisters. Brama can feel the rage in their eyes from across their entire camp. What is the meaning of this? Elder Reyna stomps across the field, her robe still glittering with ether dust from her breeches. It whips up in the wind, and she moves like a sandstorm in her wake. Followers do not fight. Soldiers do not do magic. Who allowed this? Sister Lysan, why didn't you stop them? Lysan shrugs, unbothered. Seems as though it worked out well. Fraxier's a fierce fighter, and magic only makes him more of an asset. Even the pipsqueak was pretty handy, but it is not the way. Verena hisses, an angry flush rising through her gaunt cheeks. Gaunt cheeks? Why? Janti steps forward, folding her arms. Because! Reina's face grows redder as she sputters, trying to find an answer. Because it's forbidden. That's what I thought. Janti spits on the ground in front of Reina, and then turns back towards Brama. You got the stage, Brama. Now's the time to tell them. Janti, no, I can't. Brama whispers, stepping closer to Janti so that the clan can't see her panic. I'm not ready for this. I didn't think it happened now. I was just looking into it. It was just a dream, a hypothetical. These people don't need a dream. They need a leader. That's not me. Brama holds her hands up as if she could hide from the expectant gazes all around her. You're the fearless one. Janti, you should do it. Everyone respects you. But you inspire them. Janti takes both of Brama's hands in her own and squeezes them tight. You're the visionary. You're their hope. Brama glances over Janti's shoulder at the crowd of followers, shying away from the fury of the elders. She looks over the scant collection of tents, their home condensed down into what little they can carry as they flee. She sees her hands, bloodstained, gripping Janti's tightly. Whatever she does now, they're doomed anyway. The elders will exile them for going against the ways of things. It's the only way to maintain control. She got them into this mess, dragging her friends into forbidden places to hear about her mad ideas of city in the wastelands. But Janti believes in her mad ideas, believes in her. With one final squeeze, Brama lets go of Janti's hands and approaches the followers, although she shouldn't think of them that way anymore. They are her family, her friends, her city. Brama takes a deep breath to settle her nerves. Let me tell you the story of a glittering city called Carrick. Seems like this is the visionary for the scene. Fighting alongside people you love gives you strength, but it also means you could lose them. So it instructs me to open deck 1D. Tuned Reconstructor. Any ally reveals the top card of the deck if it's a spell you may cast it. Shit. If the reveal card is not a spell, they may destroy it. Gain a card that costs up to 3 ether more than it and place the gain card on top of the deck. To me, that sounds like a really strong 4-cost relic. I could really see myself playing this, especially like with Legacy Slayer. I can really see this coming in handy. Endless Weave. While prepped, when you use your ability, any ally may draw a card and prep a spell in hand to an opened or closed breach. Deal 4 damage. I feel like this is pretty strong. Yeah, like the prepping out of order is so strong. You can draw a hand and then like be allowed to prep it immediately to an open or closed breach, so it's not even like limited to that. Of course, it incentivizes you to use your ability a lot, which I personally like. So that's pretty strong. Boundless Engulf. Cast, deal 4 damage. If your discard pile has 8 or more cards, including this, you may return this to your hand. Ooh, I like that. That's bouncy. Right, so no new gems, which I'm personally sort of fine with. I think the relics is really what I wanted to see more. These relics didn't speak to me. I think they're decently good. There was just more other stuff that I wanted to look at in the market that I was more in favor of. Alright, so this will be all for the introductory Battle 1, and I'll see you in the next video for Battle 2. Take care. And resolve all the nemesis on the infections, and I don't think we have enough health for that. When a player is exhausted, any player gains 2 infections instead of unleashed twice. If a player would gain an infection and cannot, each player resolves all of the infections instead. So that would just trickle down. Okay, let's calculate this. So discard a prep spell. That's easy. Discard a gem in hand that costs 2 or more. I can't do that. Discard 2 gems in hand, I can do that. Discard a card in hand that costs 3 or more, I can do that. But I cannot do it twice. Oh, I don't have to lose 1 charge. I don't have any charges to lose. I could have seen that coming, so Gravehold would go down to 3. I would still be left with 1 charge. Discard a card, gem in hand that costs 2 or more. I cannot do that, so I'll suffer that damage. It goes down to 0. Let's just see what's happening over here. She cannot lose a charge, so she also has to eventually place a card in hand on top of your deck. Like that. Place a card in hand on top of your deck, like that. Discard a prep spell. She can't do that, so she actually has, no matter what, yeah. Place a card in hand on top of your deck. Discard 2 gems in hand. I cannot do that. So Brama exactly exhausts Janti exhaust and have 2 damage left over, dealing 4 damage to Gravehold, and that takes us out. Even we're just gaining the 1. Well, they both exhaust anyway, so it doesn't really matter with anything else. What would have been the last card we would have seen? We have to discard spins. That would have been power, so that would have been fine. So it's real legs here that really gets us.